Welcome to the work. This video is about self-observation and the true nature of reality. And I'm going to speak to you from right where I currently sit, in New York City. Honestly, never in a million years would I have ever thought that I would have ended up here. But my path led me here, and I've learned to love the city because it's a place that's challenged me in ways that I can hardly put into words. More than anything, it showed me a certain version of life, a version that's far outside the natural rhythms of the planet. Now, this disconnect from nature isn't unique to New York, but it's being amplified all over the world. And social media isn't helping the cause. People all over the world are getting lost scrolling through curated snapshots of other people's lives, longing for a reality outside of their own. We're losing ourselves in this process, and we're losing sight of the gratitude for simply having the human experience. On the micro level, if we focus on the details, of course it seems like there's these differences that genuinely feel like they set us apart. But on the macro level, we're all fundamentally the same. We all have needs, we strive to satisfy those needs, we seek less of what makes us unhappy and more of what brings us joy. Now, these are basic biological drivers that shape all of human life. There's this ancient saying that says, as above, so below. So below, as above. It basically means that as far out as you can go, as far out as you can zoom, things basically just become little dots. And as far in as you can zoom, again, the same thing happens. They just become little atoms, little dots. Patterns fundamentally repeat themselves. So no matter who you are, from Elon Musk to the average person, you're still governed by these same universal laws, and your operating system is fundamentally the same. And you might be asking yourself, like, how can this be? It feels like we're so obviously experiencing something different. How are we not separate from one another? And so this is where the work begins. And since this project is the work, it's about connecting the mind, the body, and the spirit to become fully integrated. Today is going to be a very mind-focused video. We're going to see if we can shift a couple paradigms and open up a couple minds. And to do this, we're going to have to look at it through the lens of one Gautama Siddhartha, or as we've come to know him in the West, as the Buddha. The Buddha is one of my all-time favorite philosophers. His teachings were so simple and so profound that they have arguably influenced more generations of people than any other philosopher on earth. So the proof is in the pudding. If you're looking for truth, you need not look any further than the Buddha. I spent much of my life searching for the truth. I grew up in a very Christian household, and I went to church every Sunday, and I really took to it. It really shaped my paradigm. But it wasn't until I was living in India that I really began to immerse myself in Buddhism. And it was there that I first heard about Vipassana meditation. Now, Vipassana means insight. It's a technique of meditation that was taught by the Buddha. He wanted you to see the truth as it really is. And Vipassana is taught during 10 days in silence. And so when somebody first proposed the idea of doing a Vipassana retreat while I was traveling around India, I thought that this was the last thing that I would want to do. Why would I travel all the way across the world and spend 10 days sitting in silence? But it was around the time that I found myself in Dharamshala on the foothills of the Himalayas, a place where the Dalai Lama and exiled Tibetans live. It's a city that has a super strong Buddhist presence. And it was there that I really started to begin to get the calling. So in the last 2 weeks of my trip, I woke up at 4 a.m., I hiked up the mountain, and I stood outside of the Vipassana Center hoping to get a seat in this already sold out retreat. Every evening during those 10 days, you would listen to a discourse by Goenka. Goenka would teach fragments of the Buddha's teachings straight from the Pali Canon. Combined with hours of meditation, you really get to contemplate and grasp what the Buddha was saying about the human experience. What the Buddha taught is that our minds operate in a very binary way. We attach to what feels good and we avoid what feels bad. Now, this is true for everybody. This is the human equivalent of a 1 or a 0. It's kind of an algorithm that's shaping our decisions and our actions. You are not as much of a sovereign individual as you may think. You're the product of countless lives lived, thoughts, experiences encoded in your DNA. Your ancestors have quite literally shaped your reality and contributed to every fragment that you bring into this world, yet you probably think of them very little. This unique genetic makeup is what Ayurveda calls your prakriti. It's your biological blueprint. And this is where meditation became an invaluable contribution. It's a practice that helps you step back from this binary nature of our minds and reconnect to the truth. Vipassana teaches you to observe reality as it is and not how you wish it to be. Through meditation, you can start to see how your thoughts, emotions, and actions are actually conditioned. It teaches us to observe ourselves at the experiential level and observe the subtlest sensations in the body, because every thought that we think actually has its root in a sensation. And the Buddha's teachings are profound because they reveal the true nature of the cause and effect. As Goenka teaches, when the Buddha first reaches his enlightenment, his first words were, "O great architect, I have been searching long and hard for you. I see you now. I see that all that I am and all that exists is made up of my thoughts and my thoughts alone. My thoughts are entirely based on clinging to what feels good and avoiding what feels bad." And this is why the Buddhist teachings of compassion are so profound. It reminds us that all beings, big and small, are literally doing the best that they can. Given their resources, their predispositions, and their environments, all beings are just searching for more of what makes them feel good and less of what makes them feel bad. Our goal is to ultimately see the true nature of reality and let this bring us closer to peace and understand that every being on the planet actually is doing the best that they can. And I'll leave you with that for today. I'll see you on the next one.